Have you ever seen two zoom cameras packed into a single camera ring? Well, that might be exactly what Huawei is doing with its upcoming Pura 80. Even before the phone is officially out, it's already getting a lot of attention, and not just because it's the next big Huawei launch. A recent leak has revealed something very different about its camera, a dual-periscope lens system. And what's more surprising? This leak is about the standard Pura 80 model, not the Pro or Ultra. Let's talk about what's going on. A new image of the camera module has made its way online. It shows a design that looks quite similar to last year's Pura 70. The same triangular layout is back, with 3 camera rings placed at the corners of a triangle. One ring holds the main camera, another one has the ultra-wide-angle lens, and the third, the biggest ring, is where things get exciting. This large ring appears to hold 2 periscope zoom lenses. Yes, 2. And they're placed side by side inside that one circular section. There's also a tiny 2 megapixels multispectral sensor sitting inside the same ring. If you look closely, you'll also notice an LED flash positioned between the main and ultra-wide lenses. Just under that flash, there's the OMG branding. That's Huawei's own camera software and image processing tech. So why is this a big deal? Usually, smartphone makers save their best camera upgrades for the top-end models. But in this case, Huawei might be adding an advanced zoom setup even in the regular Pura 80. According to the leak, here's what the camera specs might look like. A 50 megapixels primary camera with a 1-inch sensor, a 40 megapixels ultra-wide-angle camera, a 50 megapixels periscope lens with a 1.3-inch sensor and dual focal length, and that 2 megapixels. Multispectral lens we mentioned earlier. Let's break that down. A dual focal length periscope lens is a clever setup. It lets your phone use 2 levels of zoom from the same lens without needing a second big camera. This way, the phone can offer more zoom options while keeping the body slim and not too bulky. You'll be able to take both close-up and far-away shots with better clarity thanks to this setup. And since it's built into just one camera ring, it saves space, and that might help the phone feel more balanced in your hand. Another interesting detail? It looks like all 4 Huawei Pura 80 models might come with this same dual periscope setup. Sure, there could be small differences in resolution or sensor sizes across the models, but the layout seems to stay the same. This kind of move shows how serious Huawei is about smartphone photography. Instead of keeping features like this locked behind the most expensive models, they may be bringing it to the entire lineup. That's rare in the current smartphone market. But of course, none of this is confirmed yet. What if Google's next big Pixel launch isn't happening in October like usual? What if it's happening earlier? Way earlier? Well, get ready. According to a new report, the Pixel 10 series could be announced on August 13, 2025. That's right, the same day the Pixel 9 lineup was revealed last year. But this time, August 13th lands on a Wednesday, not a Tuesday. Still, this small shift makes sense. After all, Google introduced the Pixel 8 on a Wednesday back in 2023. Now here's where it gets interesting. The new report says that Google might begin shipping and selling the Pixel 10 phones just 1 week after the event. That means by August 20th, you could walk into a store or check your doorstep and get your hands on one of the 4 new devices. Yes, 4. We're talking about the Pixel 10, Pixel 10 Pro, Pixel 10 Pro XL, and the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. That's a lot of Pixel's pre-orders are also expected to open the same day as the launch, August 13th. No surprises there. What's still unclear is which countries will get the phones first. But since this is a major Pixel release, it's likely that Google is planning a global rollout right from the start. Now, if you're already using a Pixel 9 phone, especially if you grabbed one recently on a discount, you probably don't need to rush into an upgrade. That's because the changes, at least based on early leaks, seem pretty minor. For example, the regular Pixel 10 might finally get a telephoto camera, in addition to the main and ultra-wide cameras it already has. That's good news, especially if you're into zoom shots. But when it comes to the Pixel 10 Pro and Pixel 10 Pro XL, there may not be much that's truly new, at least on the outside. The Pixel 10 Pro Fold, which would be Google's third foldable phone, also seems to stick very close to the design of last year's model. That's based on early factory computer-aided design renders, which can sometimes miss smaller details, so there's still hope for some under-the-hood changes. Speaking of changes, Google still has time to surprise us. A lot of software upgrades, new camera features, or battery improvements could be revealed during the launch event, and that might be what makes these new Pixels stand out. Now here's a bonus. We might also see the Pixel Watch 4 launch alongside the Pixel 10 series. This time it could come in 2 sizes, giving more people options that fit their wrist better. But don't expect a Pixel Tablet 2. According to the same report, it's probably not happening this year. Or maybe ever. So, is this early launch a good thing? Well, it gives Google more time to grab attention before Apple's iPhones arrive in September. It also gives buyers more time to pick their side in the Android versus iPhone race. In the end, whether the Pixel 10 series is worth the upgrade depends on what you're using now. If your phone is more than a couple of years old, or you've been waiting for a telephoto lens on the regular Pixel, this might be the year to switch. It looks like Apple might be making a big change across all 4 iPhone 17 models, and it has to do with the dynamic island. If you've been hoping for a smaller notch or a cleaner front screen, this rumor might excite you. A new report suggests that Apple could be adding Metalens technology to all 4 iPhones in the 2025 lineup, not just the Pro Max model. This news comes from analyst Jeff Pugh, who originally said that only the iPhone 17 Pro Max would get the upgrade. But now, he believes every iPhone 17 model will include this new lens design. The report was first spotted by 9to5Mac, and it's already getting a lot of attention in the tech world. So what exactly are metalenses? Unlike regular camera lenses, which are curved, a metalens is completely flat. It uses a metasurface to control how light is focused onto the image sensor. This is a major step forward in lens technology. By switching to a metalens, Apple could make the front-facing camera and Face ID system much smaller and thinner. Why does that matter? Because shrinking the Face ID hardware means shrinking the dynamic island, that black pill-shaped cutout at the top of the screen. This feature was introduced with the iPhone 14 Pro, and it has remained more or less the same size since then. While the dynamic island does a great job showing live activities and housing Face ID sensors, many users still feel it takes up too much space. According to the report, Apple could now use a single metalens for both the Face ID transmitter and receiver. That would help combine components and reduce the overall size of the cutout. While we don't yet know exactly how much smaller the dynamic island will be on the iPhone 17, any change will likely be welcome to those hoping for a cleaner, more
seamless screen. This update would be a big deal, especially because Apple usually saves major hardware redesigns for the Pro Max model. But if this new rumor is true, the company could be planning to roll out the change across the whole lineup from
the base iPhone 17 to the Pro and Pro Max versions. That would be a nice surprise, especially for those who don't want to spend extra on the higher-end models. It's worth noting, though, that not everyone agrees with this prediction. Well-known Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo said earlier this year that the size of the dynamic island will stay largely unchanged in the next generation of iPhones. Both Pugh and Kuo have solid track records when it comes to Apple leaks, so we'll have to wait and see who turns out to be right. Eventually, Apple is expected to move Face ID under the display entirely, removing the need for the dynamic island altogether. But that change might not come until the iPhone 18, possibly in 2026 or later. For now, the move to metalens could be the next step in that direction, offering smaller sensors and a more compact design while keeping the same level of security and performance. Of course, all of this is still based on rumors,